to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On that note, I will make a motion to approve the September 8th regular meeting minutes.
I will second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I will abstain.
And then I will follow it up with a motion to approve the September 8th non-public meeting minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Marianne, did you abstain on that one too?
I abstain, sorry.
Just confirming. Okay, the Select Board will meet on the following dates: Tuesday, October 14th, and Monday, October 27th. Town offices will be closed on Monday, October 13th, in observance of Columbus Day. Citizens wishing to be listed on the Select Board's agenda should notify Town Hall before 12 p.m. the Thursday before the scheduled meeting. All meetings will be held upstairs in Town Hall and held by Zoom, and the Zoom information can be found on the town's website at plymouthnh.gov. And with that, let's take us to the Town Manager's report.
Sure, thank you. First of all, property reevaluation letters, the 2025 property reevaluation letters with the new assessed property values were sent to the mail house on September 12th. The hearings are scheduled starting Thursday, September 25th, and run through Wednesday, October 1st. Peace Public Library was not available, so all of the hearings will be held here at Town Hall with staff from our contracted assessor, Whitney Consultants. The hearings are available in person or by telephone, and I think starting Thursday, they have a pretty full schedule on Thursday and a pretty full schedule on Friday.
So it's by appointment type of thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Plan New Hampshire charrette. Plymouth proposed Railroad Square Depot Street area charrette application has been approved to move forward in the spring of 2026, funded by Plan New Hampshire. A big thanks to Joseph, Molly McCann, and John Christ of the Planning Board for their collaboration and work on the application. I think this speaks to the strengths of their proposal and potential that exists for this project area. I'm excited that this opportunity will be available to Plymouth. A charrette, for those that do not or have not heard of one before, a charrette is a collaborative and intensive planning session where a diverse group of stakeholders come together to solve a specific design or planning problem. It's an immersive, hands-on process that condenses weeks or months of typical work into a few days. So congratulations to Joseph and Molly and Chris for their work on the application and getting that approved. NHMA training on Wednesday, September 10th. Town Hall employees attended a webinar dealing with suggested do's and don'ts to personnel when managing an auditor who may be conducting a video recording within Town Hall. Suggestions for identifying and controlling access to staff-only areas were discussed and ensured appropriate non-confrontational access to public areas of Town Hall, along with a review of First Amendment principles that apply were discussed. Following the webinar, employees were able to view several audits that were conducted within other town halls and post offices. Russell Street drainage construction, the project is moving along as scheduled. Our hope is that the project will close out on November 15th or before, with a new road surface and sidewalks in place, with final pavement taking place in the spring of 2026. We're in hopes that the base pavement was put down on Saturday on Russell Street, and the curbing will be put in tomorrow, with hopes that the sidewalks will be paved by this weekend. So they're moving along very well on that project. Plymouth Village water and sewer construction, water main installation construction continues on Reservoir Road and Highland Street. As we receive weekly updates, we will keep residents informed in our weekly newsletter and on the Town of Plymouth Facebook page. Ambulance regionalization project, something that we had talked about a few months ago, is the thought behind this is a regional approach could offer significant financial savings and enhanced service delivery. We are currently coordinating meetings with interesting neighboring towns to our west, including Rumney, Warren, Wentworth, Hebron, Dorchester, Groton, and Glencliff and Warren, to fully evaluate the benefits and challenges. Meetings have started, and we're hopes to have all interested towns attend a collaborative meeting near the end of October. Busting myths and misinformation. I would like to start an email platform where residents can submit questions, even anonymously, and receive direct factual answers from the town. During this time of year, when budgets start to surface, there are always questions and concerns. This will clear up confusion, address rumors, and keep our community grounded in facts. I am looking for your feedback if you feel this would be a good idea to proceed with.
Are you thinking of that as like an anonymous form on the website or something like that?
I want to do some more research on it, but yes, that's what I'm thinking, something in the newsletter, something on the website that someone can fill in, and
Yeah.
it gets directly submitted to me.
And then you'd address it like in the next newsletter or in the next select board meeting? Like how would you
The
address it?
newsletter is my thought.
Okay, in the newsletter, yeah.
I would think it might be good to have an archive of questions that people submit on the website too.
Sure.
So people can search it.
Sure.
If somebody has a question
idea.
that's
Yeah.
already been asked, they can look and say, what questions have been asked previously, and then what was the town's response?
And we can always direct them to that from the newsletter as well.
Right.
A link to
Yeah.
that.
I like that concept. When I first read this, I wasn't sure how that was, like, I was envisioning a confidential response to the person who wrote the question, but I think if it's used as a forum to submit, a question in the public sphere, and even if the asker is anonymous, like we should disclose that the question will be posed, with the
Right.
response from
Right.
from an anonymous source.
Absolutely. My
So
thought
that people
would be-
understand it will be a
Is
public
to put the
response.
question there with the response.
I like that.
In that section.
Yeah, I
It
think
just-
that's really
This time
good.
of year, it just seems like there's so many questions.
They start to roll
concerns, and
in.
Comments.
Right.
Yeah.
And let's get ahead of it.
And they ramp up all the way from now until town meeting.
Right.
And then it gets quiet again.
Right, exactly. So if everybody's in favor of that, I'll stop putting something together and run it by you again at the next meeting with what will go into the newsletter and how that forum will be established on the website.
We may want to have some disclaimer on there that if the information requested or in the question is confidential or something that we can't disclose, that we will make that determination and not put it on the web.
Absolutely.
Something to that effect.
Yep,
And that we might, all that disclaimer language, like that we might adjust the question for clarity or or to protect somebody's personal information or, those kinds of things. But
Yeah, and any personal information in the question
we would
be
strip it out.
obscured,
Yeah.
but-
yep. All right, I'll bring something back at the
It's a good idea.
next meeting. Heating oil and propane procurement. Jesse sent out an RFP for heating oil and propane. The town is currently with Dead River. The RFP responses came back from Stratford Oil, Irving Oil, and Dead River. Dead River was the low bidder with $2.79 per gallon for heating oil and $1.56 for propane. The $1.56 is what we currently are paying, and the $2.79 is 25 cents less than what they quoted us last year. So they came in the low bidder. Other additional items, the September town manager's messages out there. The 2025-26 Select Board strategic priorities. We'll do an overview tonight. Other things of interest is that New Hampshire Electric Co-op has a scheduled power outage tonight, starting at midnight to 5 a.m. If you were notified by text or voicemail, it is going to affect where you live. If you weren't, they said it won't affect your area. So just kind of a heads up that was out there today.
And that's, they sent those text messages today?
Excuse me?
Did they send those text messages today or?
I think since Friday, they've been sending messages
okay.
out.
Mostly downtown centered.
Highland Street, Merrill Street.
I'm apparently just barely outside of it. 'cause
You must be outside. I know I didn't get anything
I
at
didn't get
Blueberry
anything. I
Hill,
didn't get one.
so. But just for those that may not have seen their text message or voicemail,
It's never fun when you wake up and your alarm clock isn't.
It's just flashing.
Right.
I hope people are prepared to use their cell phones for an alarm clock if they need one.
Other good news, the Northern Borders grant that I had spoken about when we submitted the pre-application, that was approved. We got notification today, which moves us to the application stage for the streetlight and wayfinding feasibility study. What I would ask is that we have to submit a form over the next couple days that allows, that the board is allowing the town to move forward in the application process. I would ask that you grant me permission to sign off on that resolution and get that submitted in the application packet.
So moved.
Seconded, sorry.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Any opposed?
And the only other thing I have is I had a call from Bruce Ahern down on Route 3 South, 484 Daniel Webster Highway. And throughout the summer, he has allowed the fire department to use a structure down there at 484 Daniel Webster Highway for training, fire training. And on October 18th, the fire department will be doing a live burn at that house. And the only reason he's maintained the house was for the fire department to be able to train throughout the summer and burn it on October 18th. What he has asked is that we abate the second half of his tax bill due to him allowing the fire department to do the training in the building. The total taxes on the building are $1,300 a year. He's already paid the first half. He's not asking for the first half, but he is asking for an abatement of $650.20, because otherwise he would have torn the building down and the fire department wouldn't have had that to use as training. So that is his request, is if the board would abate that portion of his tax bill, which is the second part, in lieu of the fire department using it for training.
Do we have any idea of the value of the training that the fire department has?
Probably in
Taken
excess of
from
650.
I would think,
well in excess,
I don't doubt that it was actually a valuable experience, but I guess my question is this a training the fire department would have done otherwise, that we would have paid for?
We wouldn't have had this opportunity
Yeah.
unless this building was available and Bruce cleaned it all out and
Right.
got it ready for them to do that.
My understanding is the governor issued a statewide no burn notice today. Is that going to affect the plans if it's not lifted by then?
It's not until October 18th. I'm sure that we'll have,
I'm
Get
sure they
rain.
won't.
Hopefully we
burn
get some
if
rain this week.
The ban is still in effect on October 18th, but in lieu of that, they've trained all summer with bailout and escaping and
So they've been using it for other trainings, not just
they've
the
been
live
using it
burn
all
event?
summer, periodically with different shifts going down and doing training in the building.
I would like to commend Mr. Ahern for his willingness to allow the fire department to train there. I don't think it's unreasonable to honor his request.
Any concern about an after-the-fact request?
Yeah.
Clearly, it's something we need, and this is great that he's been so
It would
generous.
have
I
been, it would have
wasn't
been nice to
sure.
have it up front, but I don't
That's
think,
the
I don't
only
think, I don't think
we-
there's, I don't think this would establish a precedent of any kind.
I mean, in some ways, we probably should have offered up front when he,
Right.
when he offered the building to us, we should have said, we're going to abate that for the second, that might have been the,
Right.
He's probably also saving a significant amount of disposal fee by having it burned as a training exercise, as opposed to using an excavator to crush it and haul it off with tipping fees and trucking to a landfill.
yeah,
But
sort of a
He's still
win-win.
going to haul it off after the
Yeah,
debris
but
that's
it-
left
there-
there.
Yeah, all of the.
There will be
right,
less.
Yeah, absolutely.
The tipping fees will be
Absolutely.
less.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great deal. I participated in a live burn training in a house 20 years ago, and it was unlike any other training we ever did, because you could really understand what it was like to be in a burning building in a
Right.
very controlled situation. So, yeah, I think not only is it a great thing, it's a unique training that the those folks in the town got. So definitely commend Mr. Ahern.
And I'll make a motion that we approve Aaron's request.
To abate $650 from his property tax bill.
And 20 cents.
Oh, thank you. That is important.
Always is.
Now, that amount may be a little different because we haven't set our tax rate for the fall, so
Or late fees or whatever. It might just be the fall tax bill.
that would be great.
Yeah, what,
Just to the fall tax bill.
yes.
On the
Full tax
building.
bill.
Just to
On the structure, yeah.
Structure itself.
Did you get
Second.
I think that was a Ted move and a Phil second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I had some follow-up questions on the town manager's report. Can we entertain those?
Yeah.
So, on the property revaluation letter, I know that the new value of the home is included. I'm wondering if it would help in the future when we send these out. Can we send four numbers out instead of one? One being the old valuation, the new valuation, the old town total valuation, or the most recent year's town total property valuation, and the new preliminary total town valuation.
The
Would that be
only pro-
feasible?
It would be if we have the total new town valuation when the
But it-
letters go out.
But I mean, are they doing those new revisions in batches, or do they? I would think that if they had a total proposed list for everything, some of them might be, some folks might appeal, right, and they might be changed. But if we had the preliminary number, it would at least give folks some idea of, like, my valuation went up 13%, but the town total went up 14%, so my taxes are actually going to go down, or my share of the taxes will go down. Like, I think that would at least give people
Yeah,
a basis of understanding to know that, like, it's not just that your valuation went up and your taxes are going to go up. If your taxes went up relative to the total, yeah, your share might go up. But if your valuation went down relative to the total, your taxes will actually go down.
Could go down.
Could.
Depending on the budget.
Yes, it depends
But it
on the
would give you a
budget,
much
but
better grounding number to understand.
I don't think I think the more we can do to educate the public about how your share of the taxes works, it would help address some of the concerns that people share around seeing those new numbers. Because, like, from the time you get your new valuation until you get your tax bill, you don't know what it means.
Do
Sure.
we list
No.
percentages as well?
What's that?
Do we list percentages
don't
up,
think
down
there-
for both?
No.
Curious.
No.
But we certainly will take that back to,
It's just a question, I guess, to raise for the assessors.
Yeah,
That, I mean,
sure.
is that something that's feasible? I mean, I suspect they have a database that they could just.
They're mail
pull-
merging all that in to
Yeah,
generate
it's just a
those
mail
letters
merge
anyway,
out of a spreadsheet to generate those letters. I think they could probably pull those extra 3 fields in easily.
yeah, we'll definitely have that conversation with them, and then we can build, when we announce the next reevaluation, we can build all of that into
The next
our
one.
notice as well.
Okay.
When it starts.
Yeah.
And then I did have another question. The Plymouth Village water and sewer work that's happening, is the reroute of the main on the surface, is that a temporary just to get water back to the main downstream of where they're working?
Correct, that's a temporary water service that will be tested,
Coming off the hydrant.
yeah, it'll be tested next week. And
I
then they'll
guess
start,
I was curious about the schedule. Do we know how long those temporary the surface mounted water pipes are planned to be in service before they can?
they are supposed to be removed by the end of October.
Okay. I've heard from a few people who live in the vicinity that, it's simple inconveniences that the post office is not delivering their mail because there's an obstruction to their mailbox. So, I just wasn't sure if we knew what the schedule for that was.
That is the tentative schedule. I was at a construction meeting last Tuesday, and their tentative schedule is they're doing all the pits now where all the connections will be. So Emerson Street is complete, Russell Street is complete, Reservoir Road is almost complete, and then what they'll do is go right down Highland with the new water and sewer mains.
Okay.
And their hope is that that will be done by the end of October.
Thank you. It's nice to know there's a planned schedule.
there is. And if there's any updates to that, we certainly will get the information out.
6 weeks, something like that.
All right. Anything else for Scott?
No, that was it. Thank you for entertaining
No,
the
those
questions.
were both very good questions. With that, though, I am going to open our public hearing. It is 5:20. Plymouth Board of Selectmen are holding a public hearing in accordance with RSA 3195B for the acceptance of unanticipated funds from FEMA. The funds are being received for work performed from December 2022 as a result of storm damage along town roads. The funds received are in the amount of $14,393.86. Funds have been received and will be allocated to prevent future flooding and storm damage to town roads. Anything from the board before I check with the public? Comments from the public?
Sounds good to me.
With that, 5:21, I will close the public hearing and take it back to the board.
I'll make a motion that we approve the $14,393.86 from FEMA that were received as a result of storm damage to be allocated and prevent future flood and storm damage.
Second.
Got everything you need in that motion, Ann?
I do.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. On to page 2. Do we want to skip to the LSSA so that we don't hold these fine folks up all evening? Yeah, do you want to join us at the table to discuss the Life Safety Service Agreement?
Good evening.
How are you?
Yeah.
It's great to be
Welcome.
invited.
Door's always open. Want me to start, Zach? or-
Yes, that would be fantastic. Thanks, Scott.
So last week, I met with Tracy and President Burks and Jess Dutile, trying to have a conversation about what the university was thinking coming in here tonight. And there was another lady on the phone, I think she was from the university system.
Mary Burt, Mary Batch.
Finance? Okay. Who was on the phone with us as well when we had this conversation. And really kind of talking through how does it fall within the services that we provide to the university, and at what level are they able to provide funding this year based on the cuts that were made in the legislature and the governor signed for the university system. So I had sent out an email to the board as well as confirmed with Tracy today with regards to what we had discussed. And what we discussed is really talking about the fire department's support and services, and of a total of $255,875. And then streets and sidewalk support and service of $19,125, which totals $275,000. And then we also talked about the police support and services that we currently are providing to cover shifts at the university when they're down police officers, just as we are down police officers. But in an agreement that we've had for the last 2 years of covering shifts at $60 an hour to make sure we're covering the officer and the administrative costs. The other thing that goes along with that, and I failed to put it here, is that we use a university police vehicle for those patrols. So there's no vehicle wear and tear on behalf of the town of Plymouth. And, over the last couple of years, it's ranged from 105,000 to 110,000. Last year specifically being $107,440, of which the university paid, I think, Tracy, if I'm not mistaken, on a monthly basis. You receive the invoices and pay on a monthly basis. And all the invoices have been paid up to date. So, in the conversation is that the $275,000 for life safety services and support agreement, and then the additional $100,000 to $110,000, depending on the number of shifts, which we're covering more shifts now due to unexpected absences from Plymouth State University Police. So total could be anywhere between $380,000 to $382,000 that we would receive from the university in this next LSSA agreement, which may need to be retitled to a different name of support and services. But that was our discussion. I think I covered that correctly, did I not?
Yes, I
So-
think so, Scott.
Okay. So that's what the university is proposing to us. In my eyes, I think it's a fair representation that we're, getting 25% of the fire department budget. We're able to take some of that money and allot it towards another tower truck in the future. And we're covering the street maintenance and repairs for that $19,000. And that's all based on the national standard of what it costs to maintain and repair a mile of street and sidewalk. And then we're being fully reimbursed for the police support and services that we provide to the university. Of course, there could be other things that, if we're doing a different detail or something, the university would be paying for that as well. But that was in our initial conversations the other day, of which I emailed out to you and open for conversation now.
I have a couple questions. Do we need to clarify the streets and sidewalks maintenance? I would assume that the maintenance of sidewalks is primarily those associated with the streets through the campus and not the sidewalks through campus?
Yeah, it's 2.3 miles of streets, which I have designated in another document.
Would it make sense to say the streets and associated sidewalks to differentiate from those that cross campus, or is the town planning to maintain the ones that go through campus as well?
We maintain the ones that go, we maintain the ones that are on public streets,
Right,
Plymouth Town
but the ones
streets.
that go through the quads, the walking paths,
We could put Town of Plymouth Public Ways.
that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, we can do that.
Even if this administration understands that, it would just make sense, if there's a new administration that would want to reinterpret that to expect that we were going to maintain all the sidewalks on campus. I think it would be different.
We can designate that in the agreement.
And did you say that maintenance cost was based on the national average of maintaining
It's
streets?
American Public Works Association at $7,000 and some odd dollars per mile.
Is there a different number available for streets for states that have a lot of snow and ice? I suspect that our
Yeah.
I suspect that our costs are
That's
much
the
higher.
northeast
Okay, all right,
region.
thank you. That's a regional, not a national average. I'm acutely aware that our streets take more of a beating than most places in the country. Okay, no, I think this is a fair agreement.
Scott, do you happen to know off the top of your head what the numbers were last year?
For which,
For instance, for the fire support?
we didn't break it out that way.
We didn't
last
break it
year.
out, so
Remember,
we just had a
That was
total.
the whole discussion we had about trying to,
Right. Try to
to
get
something.
it tied to something so it's not just
Create a base.
arbitrary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
we
agree.
didn't-
So there was a number that was for everything, but then there was the police was separate, right? Because the hourly
For
rate
details.
for details.
yeah,
So that
and that was the
was,
same rate as the $60 an hour.
and that was the one that we billed at 107,440 last year.
Correct.
So do you know what the other part was last year?
It was 400,000 last year.
total,
Total 400.
Total from PSU, plus
All
the
the
dispatch, plus the
They
hourly
pay
rate.
separate for the dispatch services as well.
So they gave us $100,000 with 4 payments last year for what they're discussing today at $275.
so I just, because I'm not sure I'm following, it was 400 and that was inclusive of the 107 for police services? So it was really 507.
Yes.
So we're going to go from 507 to,
Really 400,000 down to 275.
Right.
400 to 275. So it's a $125,000 reduction.
Oh, it's different than I had interpreted.
And just keeping in mind, they pay additional funds for police prosecution. If we prosecute a case that happens on campus and our prosecutor takes that case and prosecutes it, they pay additional for that, and then they pay, do you know what the dispatch fee is?
I do. It was 38,593. It's a separate
Dispatch.
for dispatch.
But those weren't part of the
No,
400,000.
No,
No.
separate.
The
So if we're
four,
comparing apples to apples,
We're $125,000 less.
I'm not sure.
yeah, last year all rolled in for 2023, we had 514,760. 2024, 559,854, and so far this year, we've paid 119,914.
On the police services.
Yes.
Yeah. So more than previous
We just
years.
rolled it all together for our budget purposes, so that we budget for, like, you know, I'll say it, the pirate party and all those other added services, details, all those other things that aren't in the 100,000 that was last year.
From a simplistic question, and maybe you can't answer it, how much did we, PSU, lose from the state? I guess.
Well, it's different each year.
Okay.
We lose roughly would be 1.5 million the first year, and we lose roughly 2.5 to 3 million the second year.
And from a percentage point?
It's 15% the first year and 25%. 25%. It's either 20 or 25% the second year. I can't remember which it is.
Just trying to compare the loss of roughly 25%.
Well, the numbers were bigger. That's the problem.
Sure. No, just, once again, simplistic question.
In my understanding, we'd look to do a 3-year, or we didn't discuss that part of it.
We didn't talk about that, so
What would be the board's thoughts on how long of an agreement you would like to enter into?
3 years is pretty standard. That's what we do for. just
For a lot of things, yeah.
I guess it depends on if you believe 2 years from now that the state will give us more money than they've taken away. I don't know.
If they take more away, is that really possible? I mean, I know that it is.
That's a good question. I think it's possible to do, but what would be the reality of it? I don't know. Between the federal governments, see, that's the other side of it. We've been losing contracts too, because the federal government's been absorbing stuff. So it wasn't a good year for the state to pick to change the funding formula. So.
My initial thoughts would be a 3-year, in that if the board agrees with this, Tracy and I would work on an agreement and bring it back to the board for signature.
I might suggest 2 years.
2?
only in that there may be a swing of a pendulum in the political world, and the next budget may be at the hands of different writers, and there might be a value of only committing to the budget or the agreement under the terms of the existing state budget.
No objections?
Might get worse too. I'm going to hope it gets better, but it might get worse.
We're all going to hope it
I
gets
hope
better.
the state takes a better look at higher education and the funding.
It's
of
really
it, because
unfortunate
it's
that the state
ridiculous of
doesn't
where it is
value
now.
higher education more than they do.
Our police currently, do we do a 2.5 or have done as far as the raise goes every year? Kind of a 2.5%, is that what we did
Our
last
raise
year?
this year was 4%.
Okay, so I'm just wondering if we include, we add 4% each year, some number to the hourly.
For the per
rate.
diem rate.
Oh, in terms of $60 an hour?
Right, so every year we match, or say a number, or,
That's the point. Could it match, could the detail fee match our increase based on the union contract? Could we put that in there? So instead of 60, it might be $65 an hour.
probably wouldn't even be that much,
Probably wouldn't even need to be that high.
right? Probably more like less than 3.
My first reaction would be that we're giving 2% raises across the board to our police and other police, so that's gonna be a sore spot, a sore spot for our detail, so. Just putting it out there, you guys gave 4%, we gave 2%.
But that's the way it always been, right? I mean,
Why don't we do this, just compromise at 2.5%, and that's what we're giving our people, and that's what you could increase it each year.
Fine by me.
So that's 2.5% is $1.50.
Okay.
And we won't have any bad feelings or emotions.
So we're saying 2.5% increase on detail rate,
Is
that right?
61.50.
the hourly detail rate,
2% per year.
2.5%
2.5%
on the
per year.
detail rate.
The detail.
and we're looking at 2 years or 3?
2 years.
I would propose 2 years.
If you do 2 years, then it's just 60 in year one and 61.50 in year two.
Is that,
We're already in year 1.
President Brooks,
Year
you're good
one
with that?
started
Year
July
one already
1st.
started, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yep.
I want you all to have more funding. That's what I would like. That's what I would like
I
generally.
would definitely like that.
I think we can be unanimous in that feeling.
It's, I don't know. It's going to be interesting 2 years. It's really going to be an interesting 2 years.
So we'll get you'll get an agreement to us for next time? Scott?
Yeah, if everybody's if you're in agreement with what we just outlined here, Tracy and I will work on agreement to bring back to you over the next couple meetings.
Yeah, and then we'll vote on the agreement. I think it looks like we have a consensus,
Yeah.
and then we'll vote on the official agreement when we have it in front of us.
Work?
Yep.
Okay.
When would we be bringing it back so I can schedule time?
I'd like to bring it back October 14th, but if we're not able to bring it back until that second meeting in October, we
No,
know
that's
we have
fine.
a
Yeah,
consensus.
14 or 27. The 14th is a Tuesday, and then the 27th is a
One
Monday.
where I will
Okay.
not be here, but
So if we
So I
need
can,
to get together, let me know.
okay.
I'll be here.
did we resolve that one? Were you available on the 14th?
I
Okay.
plan on it.
So you'll at least have a quorum of 3 if I'm not available.
Yep, should be good.
You have my blessing.
Thanks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Anything else we should know about the happenings while we have
Well, a
here?
couple different things, so I can give you a little bit of.
How's the STEAM project?
How's the what project?
Steam
Steam
project.
lines?
Oh, the STEAM project. Well, we're getting there. We had a little problems with one of the companies, had a fire. in
Yeah, the
their-
company had a fire, and I know we still got to reach out to you guys about going across the road and setting
I
up a
think,
time.
yeah, I've been working back and forth with Clint on
With Clint,
that.
yep.
So I think we'll have a road crossing pretty soon with the steam line. Because that has to be done in one lay, across the road.
So the other thing, just other things we're working on, trying to figure out if there's some areas we can work on shared services across the system beyond what we've been doing. Sometimes UNH will take a lead and sometimes not. Trying to figure out, I think probably you know that the president of Keene is moving on. So trying to figure out how we're going to handle that as we look at what the future holds. So that's another area. These are from system perspectives. So we've got groups around the university looking at really 4 areas where we can sort of work together closer. And missions, of course, is one of them. Facilities is another. We're looking at the library, seeing what we can do with that, because we each have a library. How could we work together maybe more efficiently? And then we're looking at how we're going to organize PSU over the next couple of years to really emphasize the programs we've got, but also to differentiate ourselves as we have been doing with the clusters. So we'll be moving to 6 schools, which I think I talked about last time, which I think is going to be good. And we're going to also rework our gen ed program. So I think focus more on pathways. I think that will also be good. The faculty have been working hard on both those areas, and I think there's some good things ahead there. The unfortunate reality we're going to have to deal with is that given the funding levels that we've got, we're going to have to reduce faculty and staff. So over the next 6 months probably, we're offering a SIP now to faculty. So that's the first step. We hopefully will get enough of faculty to take it that we won't have to go further in the faculty area. And then we're making some changes. We're not replacing people in the staff area. And we'll probably do some restructuring in that area as well. I think in the end, we'll be a somewhat smaller university, but I think we'll have strengthened some of our programs that we have by putting them into schools and creating that School of Integrated Liberal Arts, which I think will be a strong area for us to look at in the future. But it also will require fewer faculty than we got today. So we're trying to figure out how can we provide an excellent education at the same time with all the cuts. So we're picking the areas that we're going to focus on, and other parts of the university system will focus on areas they will concentrate on. We've got the new 96 credit degrees that are coming out this year, so I think that's going to be a good thing. I think that's also helping us look at how we kind of build in the future. I think we're looking at some of these schools being applied schools that are really focusing on careers more than we have in the past. So I think, and it works well with our clusters because we teach students to work across disciplines. So I think and there's good happening, and there's also a really tough environment in which to be living and working in higher ed in New Hampshire, that's for sure. So that's kind of a quick overview. What's
So
happening?
I realize it's a little early to have official numbers, but how is enrollment looking as a whole?
Well, we had a good group come Saturday. It was about 100 more. We had about 127, I think, come a Saturday a year ago. We had 220 come to it this year, so that's been positive. Our applications are up, and so far it's looking good, but it's still really early, and we got a lot of competition out there. For this last year, we'll know in R+30 how many students we actually have that came. My guess is we're going to be kind of around what we were last year, which was down from the 2 previous years. So, enrollment's a challenge for all of us. I think we had the strongest enrollment of any of the campuses in the system, but everybody was down some. So
That's a spot of light.
huh?
That's good news that your enrollment was better than any of the others in the system.
Yeah, I wish I could say that it was against others that were really doing well, but at least I think we were holding our own, which I think is good.
So at our 28 R30s, where we usually have the final drop and the final count, just pulling that data up, from budget, we're 53 short with incoming freshmen. So that's still,
We were a little ambitious on what we thought we'd get for this school year.
I think I heard there were a lot of schools this year that were,
Yeah.
that experienced the same. My daughter has friends who were waitlisted, and a lot of them were accepted,
That's
which is not typical
Yep.
for schools with waitlists.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot of shifting right in the last month. Before,
there was, and we
with
noticed it a
students
lot
moving around.
in the last month, and then all that first week of, who showed
There's
up.
also an issue with the mix where we're getting a little more
Yeah.
in-state versus out-of-state.
Yeah.
the mix has changed. It's about 40-60 now.
Yeah, we used to be, and then part of that's because the deals from other states outside have tended to be better. They provided more support through this so that they're able to offer their students a discount from a tuition which is already less than ours. So makes it a little tough.
Do you have any understanding? I know we probably don't have a lot of international students, but do we know how the number of international students this year compares to past years?
I think it's about the same. I don't think we've noticed a real decline in international students. We don't tend to get a lot of international students. Most of our international students come in with hockey and skiing and
Right,
areas like that.
that was where I'd heard about most of them.
And that seems to be about the same. So looking at our athletic side, that seems to be pretty strong still. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Ski teams.
And we haven't had much trouble with getting them in as some other schools have had. So they come from countries that generally it's easier to get them in, although it's challenging even for them these days. So, but yeah, so far so good. It hasn't been a big percentage of our population, so it hasn't been a big issue for us as for some other schools. Other schools have to make up for that. That's why wait lists are being really, because they're not getting the international students that they were getting before. So,
Thanks for the update.
yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks for coming, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll wait to hear from you, Tracy, and
Okay.
go from there.
And
I'll let
thanks
you
for
have a schedule.
thanks for working with us. The challenge we're facing is pretty real.
We get it.
We do, for sure.
The support.
I think the challenge we're all facing is real.
Yeah. I got you, and I hear you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too.
Okay, back to strategic goals. Everybody get a chance to read Scott's email?
Yes, it was very thoughtful.
So what I tried to do in comparison to what we had for 24 and 25 was to really reorganize the goals a little bit and come up with 7 goals that I think are things that we've talked about over the last year. And putting those together with regards to enhance organizational effectiveness and operational excellence, enhance community engagement, financial and economic stability, economic development, environmental sustainability and infrastructure, cultivate an exceptional workplace culture to attract, develop, and retain Plymouth's valued municipal employees, and cultivate collaborative and strategic community partnerships for collective impact, and design, plan, and construct a public safety community facility to meet Plymouth's evolving needs. And what I tried to do when I put these together, and if you look at each one of them, they start out with a core statement, and then I move into the rationale of why I feel this is a defined strategic priority. And then the supporting goals and key action areas, and then a summary statement at the end of each one. So that's how I kind of organized those and developed them this year. I don't know if you want to go through, I guess, Zach, how would you like to approach going through those? Or if everybody's had a chance to read them, any comments, concerns?
Yeah, I think that's probably the way to go. I know I read them, and honestly, I had really no feedback. I thought you nailed exactly what we've been talking about. Now, if others have comments, especially the newer members on the board, because this is in a lot of ways an expansion of what we've been talking about for the
Yeah.
past many years.
This is new to me.
Right, exactly, yeah.
I will say
What
that
would be most helpful for you, I guess, as the kind of,
these all make a lot of sense, and I would say that the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are very high level, organizational level, like guidance. It's not that I don't support building a public safety community complex, but I'm not sure, like, it seems very specific relative to the high level nature of the other 6, that design, plan, and construct a public safety community facility is almost
Tactical instead of
it's almost
strategic.
an outcome of the others. I don't object to having it there if the rest of the board supports it. I just think it's a different level of thinking.
yeah.
think
In the
what I-
past, we had, like, when we had the downtown drainage project,
Yeah.
because it was such a large-scale project and it
Became
took so
part of
much
it,
time,
yes.
we rose it up to that level.
Okay.
But, I mean, your
And I
point's
don't, I
right.
don't have that history.
Your
to
point's
understand
right.
that. So I appreciate that perspective.
The other thing I tried to do, Phil, with this is, because we've been discussing this for 2 years,
Yeah.
I've tried to take the discussion that the committee has had and put it into this, of the different features of
Yeah.
what the committee has looked for, asked for, and talked about.
Yep. And I mean, this is really our guidance for the next couple of years, and I do think this should be a focus of everyone for the next year or two. So I don't disagree that this, but I'm really just noting that it's really kind of an implementation or it's a different level goal than the others. And I think our goals could be to design, plan, and present to voters, the concept of that, and then if they choose to construct it, it is going to be a major, I think, it can be our goal to do this, but I guess, a lot of this stuff, we can do all of these with the authority we have, with the exception of the last one. That one requires the authority of the voters to move forward with.
So, you're really saying if we remove the construct element
Yes,
to
design,
design, plan, and
consider.
propose.
Yeah.
Say that again, Ted, I'm sorry.
Propose instead of
Design, plan, and propose of public safety?
Yeah.
Yeah. Take out construct.
Okay.
And then it would meet the same kind of criteria the rest are.
I mean, what is our calendar on that? Are we hoping to have a proposal to put in front of the voters in 2026?
For buying property.
I think a concept of what we want to do and a property,
So-
and like a land, either purchase or lease agreement.
Okay.
That's sort of what we're pushing towards right now.
We said propose, right?
Propose.
Okay.
I like propose. And, because that doesn't limit us, I mean, because I suspect construction, even if it gets
Certainly a 2-year
proposed, that
window.
would give us the ability to design, and even if things go really well, spring of '27 is when we'd be thinking about bonding construction, right? So,
Right.
so I think
No sooner than
propose
that,
is
right.
sufficient for the next 25, 26, I think.
Okay.
But it's with the goal of working towards construction.
Yep.
I like that.
So I will
that's fair.
make that
Minor edit.
change. Yeah, absolutely.
Minor, but I like,
And if the board's fine with the rest of them, we will get them up on the website and
I didn't have any objections.
use those as our roadmap. The other thing that was in your packet is
Oh, yes.
we don't have any policies on succession planning.
Right.
And I think it's important that, I know that we've talked about in the agreement we've signed is I'm here until November of 2028. But I think it's good to have a specific succession planning document for the town manager's position, but as well as other positions in the town. So I do have two policies that I have put in here for review. I don't know if I put both of them.
I see the one for the
I
succession
think
plan
it's
for the
just for
town
the town
manager.
manager and this one here. But I do have another one, an overall succession planning for other departments, which I can send to you as well. But I'm not saying we have to put this in place tonight or anytime soon, but I just want us to think in that process that it'd be nice to have a document in place when we go to search for the next town manager.
Yeah, the one thing I wanted to ask about in this is in section 3B, which is the unplanned emergency vacancy.
Yep, okay.
Am I reading this policy correctly that we would pre-designate an interim so that in the case of an emergency, we would already know who the interim was and wouldn't have to figure it out in that moment? Is that
Yes.
how that's written?
Yes. And
Is that
I don't mean to sound gravely on this, but in so many circumstances, it happens and the thought has never been given to who's going to, in the interim basis, report
Right.
to the Board of Selectmen or run with this.
who's going to step in and cover? Yeah.
And I mean, in my eyes, right now, there's only one person that could handle that. And she could handle being the town manager as well, is Ann.
We know that because we've been through that already.
Exactly. But that's who,
Right.
that's why I had that in there.
Yeah. Even though it's pretty clear that that designation should be kept confidential, according to which we just did. We didn't say a name at all.
Right. We just said we had a really good
There were
finance
no
director,
names
Ann
mentioned,
Aber.
I know.
Because we want to avoid unnecessary speculation, I think is
Right.
what this says.
But yes, you read that correctly.
Okay. I mean, I agree with you having a policy in place around succession planning. I mean, not to open a particular wound, but this is for the town manager. We're dealing with a succession plan issue in one of our major departments at the moment, and you've done an excellent job managing that succession. But it would have been helpful for you to have had a policy to say, this is what we do, this is what's going on.
Right.
All right.
And I will,
Every organization should have some kind of contingency.
Should designate
Absolutely.
that or-
I will send that, the one that I have written for department heads, I'll send that out tomorrow to you.
And I assume it's pretty similar in
Very
concept.
similar to
Yeah.
what this is.
Yeah.
But I just think we should have those policies in place to protect the vested interest in the town.
I mean, ultimately,
Makes it very
when the
clear.
town voted to authorize a town manager, we didn't cede the authority of the select board to make decisions if we have to, right?
Correct.
We could go back to what a lot of small towns with an administrator do and
You-
make those
certainly could.
decisions ourselves in the interim if we needed to, but I do think it would make sense to have an interim manager.
Effectively, well, and
prepared.
to some extent, what we did when we used Ann in an interim capacity
Yeah.
was we said to Ann, like, okay, you are interim in this capacity, but anything you're uncomfortable with at all, bring it to us and we'll help you. Because technically, we
comfortable
are a
with
town manager town.
Yeah.
We're not a town administrator town.
Right.
So you can't just pretend you're a town administrator town because it's an interim.
So technically, I guess I don't know how that works legally, like if you appoint an interim town manager, do they have the full authority that a town manager would have to make fiscal decisions and?
They would.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
In order to switch back to a town administrator, it'd have to go to town
Town
meeting.
hall,
Yeah.
town meeting, yeah.
And be voted.
And I think we should move forward with this proposal.
Yes,
I do too.
I second.
Are we okay with the language as, okay, that was.
I read all of it and thought
that was a
it was
motion.
good, yeah. There was a
If Ted
Ted
seconded
second?
me,
I'll
there was a
second
motion.
that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So that's the policy. We do have a non-public session later where we can designate the
Sure.
the interim.
We can consider our pool of applicants.
Our options.
Our options, consider our options. Yes, so we have two new personnel policies to look at as well. It's policy night here in Town Hall.
So these two policies, one of them came into effect in January of 2026, but we're trying to get ahead of the game. And then the other one came into effect, I believe it was in July of '25.
And are these coming from like new state mandates of some sort?
State and federal, both.
And this is the language mandated from the state too, or is this our interpretation?
No, we received a notification from an attorney that we use, and he sent out a notice recommending that this is the verbiage that you use for these two policies.
I was surprised that the unpaid childbirth one didn't have any sort of, this does not, this has no impact on FMLA leave or any sort of like note that this policy doesn't infringe on the federal leave.
The federal leave, I don't quite understand what you mean. I know it's 12 weeks of federal leave,
Correct.
Unpaid.
unpaid.
Yeah.
Well,
Paid or unpaid,
Unpaid.
depends on what you have available for
policy,
PTO and what your policy says, yeah.
so, and short-term disability as well.
Right, exactly.
So this is like after the child is born, after they're,
Within the first year, right? Didn't
Doesn't say that.
it doesn't say that,
Oh,
it just
okay.
says.
Entrance medical appointment.
But they-
There is, the
Within the
first year.
first year.
Yep,
Where's the within the first year?
yep, right in the first.
Yeah, first year of the child's birth
Yeah.
or adoption.
After
I
the,
thought I read that.
yeah, sorry, and then after the 25 week, 20,
And then it says,
or after the
Fourth
12
sentence
weeks.
down.
"An employee may substitute any accrued vacation, sick, or personal paid leave for the unpaid childbirth-related leave," so it's covered.
It is just an additional policy to cover,
And so if somebody takes FMLA leave for whatever period of time they take, 12 weeks, yep, then this is additional on top of FMLA and is not in any way in relation to that.
no. And I was a little surprised that we had to have this type of policy in place, but I guess there are some employers who really hold the needle to the parents, and we are thankful that we don't do that here as much, but.
My understanding is that if someone chose, they could use their vacation time, personal time, any accrued.
That's what it says,
says
yeah,
right
may
there.
substitute accrued
And then
vacation,
if they
sick, or
needed to
personal
use
paid.
FMLA, that would be after that, and then if they,
This is-
FMLA runs conjunction with,
are you sure about that?
I am
Yeah.
100%
believe-
positive.
Is that up to the employer? Because I know
No.
many employers I've used have said that you can take any vacation paid. and then
FMLA comes
FMLA
first.
starts I think FMLA comes after.
So
That's a
technically,
good question.
It runs in
technic-
conjunction
it runs in
with-
conjunction,
Really?
but you could take your vacation time, not file for FMLA,
Right.
and then take 12 weeks of unpaid FMLA.
That was my understanding.
Now, you could get in trouble from your employer for taking the vacation time because it wouldn't be protected. The vacation time portion of that wouldn't be protected,
I have
only the 12
always
weeks, which is
seen it
why
FMLA
people
first.
almost always run it concurrently, because then they get the federal job protection. It's
Right.
not as much about the leave, it's
And
about the
If they
job
run out of
protection.
leave, they still are protected.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the
So you
first-
could play games, but you're risking
I
your
don't know that it's a
protection.
game. I mean, the places I've worked that have addressed this specifically and said you can take you know, if there's an extended illness, you can take all of your sick time, you can take all of your vacation time, and then you can, we will honor FMLA after that.
A small employer
Might do
such
that.
as us
Might not.
doesn't have that luxury of doing that.
I've always seen towns, cities, schools, and counties do it this way. FMLA is first for 12 weeks.
Yes. Up to 12 weeks.
So then, so this policy is called unpaid childbirth-related leave, okay? And then the
I'm
next.
sorry, so is this per child if you have twins?
No, it's not per child or per parent,
Just
it's
says
total.
It's
Okay,
specified.
so two children, one childbirth.
Associated
go.
with childbirth. Yeah,
Okay.
Interesting.
And I
Different
assume
years,
it's
maybe, I don't
calendar year, I assume, right?
know. It's a rolling,
From date of birth.
yeah, date of birth, it's a rolling.
So if I keep adopting or
First year
or
wouldn't
having
be-
a baby every year, I just keep getting those
You
25
could,
You could have 25 hours of unpaid leave, yes.
for every adopted child.
Yes.
how many do you want?
It's unpaid, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
All right, so the next policy, lactation breastfeeding break policy. This is actually, I put this in as an appendix to our personnel policies. After reviewing the requirements from the policy, again, we did get legal advice on this. We are specifically designating an area in Town Hall, which will be in the break room. If someone wants to utilize that, they're allowed 3 hours, 30 minutes for every 3 hours. For that purpose, we have ordered a refrigerator to put in there for that purpose, small.
I was gonna say, do you need to order it? Like,
You can't just put it in a regular refrigerator.
well, no, my point is like, you're gonna know if someone, you're gonna have 9 months warning before you need to get one.
Well, I may have somebody now who could use it.
Okay, all
Um,
right.
so-
Then, yeah, if you have somebody now who could use it, then
Potentially.
yeah, get it. I support
yeah.
that. That's fine.
Yeah.
So
They're
we've
cheap. In the grand
gone
scheme of
through.
things.
It's better
Is
to
there a-
have it known.
So if the break room is the space, does the policy adequately notify other employees that they may not have access to the break room while the other
It
employee is
says the
there?
time will be scheduled, so they
So
reach
the
out to us.
other employees
there.
will know that they will not have access to the break room while
At
it's being used.
10:20 on Tuesday and Wednesday and
15
Thursday,
minutes.
whatever.
Advance
Or every day.
Or every day.
Okay.
And we don't have any, I saw we were very focused on town hall with that. Do we not have to worry about this at the PD or the fire
We're going to
station?
designate
or-
the area here.
Okay, and we're allowed to do that with a multi-building kind of
Correct.
campus situation like we have?
If the fire department or police department want to designate an area, they would probably come to Scott and say, okay, I have a
have this
refrigerator, I'm going to
situation,
do this
yeah.
and that.
And then we would just work it out?
We will work it out.
Because otherwise, that police officer would have to come over here, use the break room here, and now the time isn't enough time.
Limited, yep.
Yeah, makes sense.
Again, these are policies that I was very surprised that people have to have them written.
Yes, because reasonable people do reasonable things
Right.
most
Always
times.
been
Yeah.
very accommodating.
Yeah.
so.
So those
I
are-
can't imagine we wouldn't be.
And I did pass these two on to the union and did not hear a response back.
They had no objection to either
They
of
had
the
nothing.
policies.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Don't forget the transfer station employees. They need space too.
We'll cross
I
that
mean-
bridge when we
You
get
never
there.
know.
We would,
You might hire someone, you might hire someone.
might
out
hire
there.
someone. It's a possibility.
wanna
The
leave.
library is a more likely need area.
So I'll make a motion to approve both of the policies that we had just gone over, the unpaid childbirth-related leave and the Appendix 3 to the lactation breastfeeding break policy.
I don't want to be the only one who seconds things, Mary Ann.
You're doing so well.
I'll second them.
Any discussion?
I believe these are excellent additions to our policy book.
I agree.
Yep. Obvious but necessary. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
And will you have copies of these for our department head meeting tomorrow?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This next one comes to us sort of via Jason, who's not here, but let me give you a little bit more context. So Jason wrote to me and said, the ACLU of New Hampshire is hosting a Pride Festival in October in Plymouth. Yep. And so they reached out and asked if the town would be willing to do a proclamation in relation to that date, sort of formalizing our support of such an event. And so he sent this along to me, and I suggested that we put it on the agenda for discussion.
I have heard rumblings that the work of the ACLU is being somewhat politicized, but I find I have a hard time finding logic in that politicization, and I think that the ACLU, there's good evidence that they support free speech regardless of the party affiliation of anyone. I know they've gone to court to
Correct.
support civil liberties across the spectrum of political beliefs. I don't see a conflict in the town supporting this. It would be my honor.
So I did put the proclamation together for Jason, and then run it by him. They also do have a permit of assembly for down at the amphitheater. They are very well organized with regards to everything from a security detail to porta potties to food venue down in the amphitheater. So they've done a very high-level job of completing the permit policy as well as the mapping of the event. Both the fire, the police have completely signed off on this. So I think this is just the next step of showing our support.
Our formal support.
There are at least 4 members of Plymouth Rotary Plymouth Rotary has been invited to attend the event, and there are at least 4 members who have volunteered. I will be there myself.
You do have a table. I can show you where the table is on the map.
For our YouTube friends, who I always like to make sure you know what the heck we're talking about. So this as drafted as a proclamation by the town of Plymouth Selectboard declaring October 4th, 2025 as Plymouth's Pride Festival in the town of Plymouth, New Hampshire. Whereas the town of Plymouth, New Hampshire is a diverse and inclusive community that recognizes and celebrates the unique contributions of all its residents. And whereas the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and two-spirit community is an integral part of our town's social and economic fabric, strengthening our community through their talents, perspectives, and creativity. And whereas the month of June is recognized nationally as Pride Month in honor of the 1969 Stonewall Uprising, which marked a pivotal turning point in modern LGBTQ+ rights movement. And whereas the Plymouth Pride Festival provides a valuable opportunity to promote visibility, build unity, and foster a greater understanding and acceptance of all people, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity. And whereas the town of Plymouth is committed to creating a self-welcoming and affirming environment where every individual can live authentically and without fear. And whereas the Plymouth Pride Festival celebrates the fundamental values of dignity, equality, and respect for all individuals. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the town of Plymouth, New Hampshire does hereby declare October 4th, 2025 as Plymouth Pride Day and recognizes the Plymouth Pride Festival as an important event that contributes to the vibrancy and inclusivity of our community. In witness whereof we have hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of the town of Plymouth to be affixed on, theoretically, the 22nd day of September 2025, assuming we approve and sign. So that's what we're discussing.
Well, as the town representative, I am proud to be a member of this town and more than happy about this proclamation. And I look forward to 4th and all that it brings.
In support of friends and family members, I would be happy to sign this.
I would too.
And Zach, I believe if I'm not mistaken, Jason's going to be there at the opening to read the proclamation.
Oh, great. I didn't realize that, but
Yes.
that's fantastic. Good.
Yeah. That's my understanding.
That's That's awesome.
Good.
Do we need a motion?
I think if we're going to sign a thing, we should.
Would you like to make the motion?
I make a motion for the proclamation by the town of the Plymouth Select Board declaring October 4th, 2025 as Plymouth Pride Festival. As Plymouth Pride Festival.
I'll second.
I'll third.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Send that your way. All right. Signature file review.
I don't have anything for you to
What?
sign tonight.
Well,
Did you forget your homework?
No. But I've been
dog
doing
ate
it.
and signature file.
Yeah.
Okay, well then we're into committee reports. No Jason?
I do have
have a
a,
vill-
I have a
update?
report.
Fantastic.
Jason sent me the report of his notes from the September 9th meeting. Plymouth Village Water and Sewer received an engineering plan grant for tank replacement, hoping to provide storage, expansion, and repair. Preliminary budget, nothing glaring different than compared to last year. Holderness Well project will start up again soon. Grenice has completed water on Russell Street and Emerson Street. They're halfway down Reservoir Road and will start on Highland Street soon, as we discussed earlier. The new Vector truck arrives tomorrow. They received a grant through Lead Services line funding to have a vacuum truck to help hydro excavate the pipes when it's needed. So that arrives tomorrow. And that was the notes from the September 9th meeting.
Perfect. Any questions for Scott via Jason? Okay, planning board?
The planning board met last Thursday, the 18th. It was a very nice meeting. We had two conceptual consultations on the agenda. One was for the two parcels on Main Street adjacent to the Common Man, or the Flying Monkey, where recently were demolished, and there were representatives of the Common Man organization, really just floating ideas and soliciting input. So there was really no resolution. Conceptual consultations are non-binding discussions about suitability and just to discuss potential needs, and I think the board was fairly supportive of almost any type of development, whether it be residential, mixed commercial and residential, some type of parking. There was a little bit of discussion of the unique property lines along Railroad Square and some of the challenges with that. But I think there was also a consensus of discussion that the charrette that's being planned is going to address that area, so it might be presumptive to propose anything different with lot lines in that area. There was a second conceptual consultation proposed for a property on Fairgrounds Road, but there was no one to represent that consult, so we did not discuss that. And then there was extensive further discussion of the Tenny Mountain Overlay District, discussing some of the terms included in the proposed language, that there are some definitions that are not in zoning. There are some definitions that are different than zoning. There's some proposed uses, and there's some general discussion about should we align, proposed commercial uses with existing language in zoning, or should we allow it to be distinct? And I'm not sure we've really come to a resolution on that, but I think it'll be taken up again at a future meeting. That was all I could remember. I'll take better notes next time.
Sounds good. Any questions for Phil? On to Ted with the school district.
All right, so as you may recall, Plymouth Elementary School met last time during our meeting.
Right.
They did not record their meeting via Zoom, so I only have their notes to work from. So they did report out that the Ask Before School program started the previous week with about 65 students enrolled. It's a good thing. They also talked about the staff did a remarkable job helping students navigate their recent medical crisis. They provided all kinds of support, behavioral health providers to support the students and staff returning from the long weekend. So that was a good, positive outcome. They report out that the new single entrance arrival procedure is going well. So the middle school students are entering through the left doors, the younger through the right. I'm not sure the details because it's not that detailed. Let's see here. They had some what would have been upcoming trips. They had an overnight at Geneva Point on the 11th through the 12th for grade 7. On the 17th, they had a half-day noon dismissal. 18th and 19th, they had an overnight at the AMC. I'm assuming this is up at the Notch. Coming up on the 24th through the 26th, it's a grade 6 overnight. That's Ocean Park, Maine. So their new software system, the multi-tiered systems of support, provides clear expectations based on student needs, working to define some practices and procedures. Trying to think if there's anything that's relevant here. They're working on a Title I handbook, which will clearly define procedures and identification of students who are needing intervention based on data. They say currently their Title I programming focuses on reading, and they're exploring a grant to find a way to integrate math into that program. Let's see. They did have a facilities update. Kitchen equipment inspection reports have been received, and they had a number of recommended repairs: gaskets for the freezers and doors, digital thermometer for the food warmer, etc. They had a failed milk cooler, and it has being replaced at a cost of $34.29. All the other repairs were assessed at around $2,100. Sports, essentially fall sports kicked off. They had a volleyball game with Interlakes, field hockey game away at Kennett, and some soccer games away at Interlakes. And in terms of the cell phone policy, they haven't had a single issue so far. And that's pretty much all the big things.
Okay, any questions for Ted about elementary school? All right, on to high school.
High school doesn't meet again. The elementary school meets next on the 6th at 6 p.m. And the high school had met prior to our last meeting, so they were covered last time. But their next meeting is October 7th at 5 p.m.
All right. Conservation Commission.
Switching gears. Conservation Commission met last week on Tuesday. Let's see. They talked about their budget, specifically Special Conservation Fund rolled, and they have $29,299 in it. Let's see. They did report out on trails, basically that bootleg trail that came off of another property into the Walter Newton. They didn't get in there to do the marking and basically noticing that, you can't do this kind of deal, but that is going to happen soon. A group associated with PSU is going to do some work on the Walter Newton trails. I think they said the 28th. So that's basically, I think it's the Geo Club, if I recall. There was some particular talk about some invasive species. I mean, what they were focused on was there's an area near Walter Newton that is actually town property that has a number of invasive species on it, and they want to pull it out. And I think, I'm trying to remember which one it was. Can't remember which particular invasive species it was, but essentially they're trying to look at pulling it out this fall with the hopes that they'll do a cutback in the spring and possible treatment in later summer as recommended practice to hopefully stamp it out.
Is this Japanese knotweed?
Yeah, it sounds right.
Bamboo, whatever they,
Yeah.
people call it out for different things, but it's Japanese knotweed.
There's a number of invasives that are around here that are really, strangle.
Bittersweet.
Bittersweet's the other big one, yeah.
But they identified that location. There was some question originally whether it was on town land or owned by a person, whose property was nearby, and it was determined that it was town land. So they may talk to you about it. Let's see. Joan did have a nice little letter for all those people who helped out with the allowing Moosewood Ecological to do,
NRI?
the work for the NRI on their property. So what they're going to do is they have a whole bunch of I'll call them postcard type things. They're not really a postcard, but things that they had like 2,000 of them made up many years ago. Originally, they were for sale. So they're going to use those to send a thank you to all the property owners who allowed Moosewood Ecological to go onto the property and do the inventory. They're going to include a little note to each of them, which I'll read out loud real quickly. It's basically how you helped, and it says, to protect the natural resources in Plymouth, the community must first learn what natural resources are present. This is done through a Natural Resources Inventory, NRI, which is a comprehensive survey of a community's natural features such as forests, wetlands, wildlife habitats. State law RSA 36-A, which guides conservation commissions in New Hampshire, requires all conservation commissions to develop and maintain this inventory. NRIs are working documents and should be updated every 5 to 10 years. However, Plymouth's NRI is 20 years old. The Plymouth Conservation Commission is making the NRI current by updating the information on conservation and public lands, water resources, farm and natural resources, and wildlife habitats. We are also using valuable information that could only be obtained through field observations on properties throughout the town, such as yours. You and others like you have made this possible, and the Commission is truly grateful. By keeping our NRI up to date, we ensure that decisions about land use, development protect our environment, enhance our quality of life for everyone in Plymouth. Thank you for your continued support and involvement in preserving Plymouth's natural resources. Thought that was a very good thing that they're doing to basically help people understand why that's important. So Joan will be sending those out to the property owners who participated, and Jeff from Moosewood Ecological will be coming to the next Conservation Commission meeting via Zoom on 10/21. The reason why it's going to be on Zoom is so that it will be easier for them to present materials. So we'll be using the Zoom info, which we agreed that we should practice before we do it, because no one has really done it, but I guess there are instructions in the little cubby there, so that we'll do that. Let's see. And that's pretty much the major things that were coming out of there.
Sounds good. Any questions for Ted?
I have a couple follow-up questions. I think in the past, maybe this is a question for Scott too, but my understanding is that towns are required to perambulate borders, and oftentimes, I think it is this responsibility of the select board, but
Responsibility of the select board, correct.
oftentimes it falls to.
I don't think probably hasn't been done in 70 years.
I was gonna ask, like, do we know when it was done most recently in Plymouth, and do we want
In the
to?
last, I will say, probably within the last 20 years.
Well, you're
that
technically,
recent.
you're supposed to contact the select board
Correct.
from each abutting town and
They're
do
all
each-
supposed to be
each
present
section of
when you
border.
do their section of border. Yeah,
They're all, I think a representative can be there.
a representative, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I was just curious if that was anything that the Conservation Commission is aware of, but it really falls to us.
I believe
Technically
it's
false house,
been
yeah.
talked about prior.
Yeah.
It's funny, I mentioned that my first year on this board as well. I would kind of like to do it, which is sort of the funny thing, like it would
We should all pick a town. Just each
pick a
of us-
town and just
One of us can do
get one done.
Bridgewater, one of us can do Rumney, Campton, Ashland,
Whoever,
Holderness,
you have to do most of that one in a kayak.
maybe.
That'd be okay.
Actually, I'm not sure that, I mean, that one's particularly interesting because of the
Yeah.
oxbow.
Right. Which, yeah, and anyway, that just popped up while I was on the conservation. The other question I have about your discussion of invasive species makes me wonder, like, has our highway crew undergone, or Parks and Rec and Highway, like, I would presume both encounter invasive species, like, has town staff been adequately trained on how to handle invasives as to not cause them to spread more? I think, a lot of the initial spread of invasives happens when they get mowed, and then they spread by fragmentation. Okay.
Yeah, I would imagine, that they specifically have called out that they have to be properly, especially in the bittersweet and the knotweed.
Knotweed spreads by fragmentation. Any little piece that falls off a mower can grow.
So they have.
Okay.
They have since we experienced the problem out on
Bell Road.
Bartlett Road.
Okay.
Every year, they go to the training put on by New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services
Great.
with updates on that.
Okay.
And we do have DES, a gentleman from the state that comes, very good, doesn't charge us anything, knock on wood.
Good. Nice.
And has been following that knotweed issue
Invasive. Yeah. Okay. It's a tricky one.
for many years.
Yeah, it's around town in a lot of places, but mostly private property.
Yeah, you can't just cut it and make it go away.
But it does respond to Roundup if you get it when it's in flower.
One of the
Late in the
things that
season.
they mentioned is they would wait for it to flower and then kill it, because they don't want to
And then-
kill the
Yeah.
friendly things that are pollinators.
Right. But it's also, so I have a friend who is a licensed pesticide applicator, and he said, like, if you spray it when it's not in flower, it'll come back the next year, but if you spray it when it's in flower, it's stressed enough because its state of being flowering that it's the pesticide will do a better
And that's
job.
part of the reason why they wanted to, they were instructed that you cut it down in the early part of the season, and it has to use a lot of its energy to grow back.
Yeah.
And then you
And then
hit
it's
it
more,
with it.
yeah, more susceptible. Anyway, I suspect that we don't have anybody on town staff who's
Certified.
approved to, can we spray pesticides ourselves, or is that a contract
No.
service? I was gonna say, yeah, I would
They were
suspect
very
that.
specific on that. You can spray it yourself without a license on your own property.
Right,
But if you are spraying it on the part of the town, then you have to be
licensed,
licensed.
yeah.
Makes sense. Any other conservation questions? All right, capital improvement, no update on that. LRPC, have we heard anything from Bill or John?
Bill and John did not have a report for tonight.
Okay. Parks and Rec?
I don't think we meet again till November, I believe. The quarterly.
Okay. Energy Commission?
The Energy Commission did meet subsequent to our last meeting. It was the Thursday following. We did discuss minutes and the fact that we need to get several meetings worth of minutes to Ann. I'm not sure anybody was there to totally update on the building committee. I think maybe Ashley had an update from Maggie, but Maggie wasn't present. The majority of the meeting was spent discussing circuit rider services that are available through Clean Energy New Hampshire. So we were joined by Sarah Brock, who is the manager of the Clean Energy New Hampshire Circuit Rider program. And this Clean Energy New Hampshire Circuit Riders were really, the goal of that program was to assist municipalities in helping them understand what types of funding might be available for energy-related projects, whether it be, audits and weatherization of town buildings or renewable generation grants. But she was a great asset. We discussed the potential for auditing this building. She applauded us for being in the process of engaging with the co-op on that. Also, she followed up with a link with some general information about other towns that are investigating geothermal as a potential. We discussed that might be one of the solutions if we're interested in seeking net zero on the new community, on the emergency services building, that it might be a good solution to include. So there are other towns looking into that as well. There's also an upcoming Clean Energy New Hampshire has a local energy solutions conference, which is aimed at energy commissions, town administrators, and anyone who deals with energy issues in the state. It's this Thursday, and as our town is a member of their organization, we had 2 complimentary attendance tickets that 2 of the members of the Energy Commission are going to attend. I'm already planning to attend through my work, so we will have 3 representatives at the Local Energy Solutions Conference on Thursday.
Cool. Questions for Phil? Nothing from Advisory Budget Committee? Chamber of Commerce?
Let's see, we met last Thursday, the 11th. They are down, one board member had to step down, work-life balance, so if anyone's interested. Let's see, they've added 2 new members, a few membership inquiries regarding sponsorships for events and additional ribbon cuttings coming up. One of the new business items was they were looking at creating a scholarship. So they're still having the application process, the complexities around that, who administers it, and then fundraising, requirements, things like that. And they're also going to be reaching out to businesses to help support that endeavor. They are right now following up on outstanding renewals. The board members are taking that on. They're trying to revive the gift card raffle, which really they're going to go out and mostly solicit retail, lodging, food members, things like that, to help give away gift cards. They are reviewing, they're going through and reviewing all their long-term goals. They've kind of broken it up into different groups. One of them is board recruiting, mission and vision statements. They're looking at re-messaging about the service area and everything that they cover. Most people don't know what they all encompass. They're also looking at, and have been looking at, redeveloping the website. And that is it.
Any questions for Marianne? Any update on PERLAC?
There was not a meeting.
Police and Fire Building Assessment Committee, we did our last tour of the facility in Bristol. So we've now done, was it the fourth?
Four.
Yeah. So we've completed our touring of various facilities, and there's a meeting
October 1st.
October 1st. I got to get that in my calendar. And then we'll, the deputies putting together, I think, like a summary of all the different tours that we did and what those looked like. And so next time we meet, I should have that information to share. I actually was pretty impressed with the Bristol facility. We'd heard
It looks nice from the outside.
we'd heard some nightmares around the construction, and I mean, with any building and project that scale, there's obviously things they wish had gone differently. But overall, it's a pretty nice facility they've got there. I would say the biggest lesson from that one in particular is not to undersize the police, because
Oh, really?
it's an example where they don't have enough space for the police day one, and it's a shame to spend that much money on a building and not have scaled it for the period of time you're actually anticipating being in it.
Absolutely.
Can't build this facility for our needs today. You've got to build it to function for
Meet the needs.
25 to 50 years, or you know, whatever you're intending.
Right.
Anyway, that part's not ideal. And a repeat lesson from many of these towns of, you know, people start to try to find ways to cut corners on the construction of the building. You start to squeeze, and then it's like, well,
It's not really
we
good.
spent the money, but we didn't really get what we need.
And you end up no better off than you are today.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think they are definitely better off than where they were,
But they don't have more space.
but they're not
They're
not
where they
set
wanna
up.
be.
Right.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
I'd like to, add a comment to, when we get to the point of, possibly constructing a new facility, that, one of the things that I've seen consistently go wrong on building projects is that you don't have somebody that is there on site representing you, the town, in this case.
We'll have a clerk of the works.
Clerk of the works for
that-
sure,
that-
and
that makes sure that people are doing what is in the plan.
was the fire chief in Bristol said the exact same thing. You know, he was asked to kind of serve that role during that project, but, you know, being the chief of the fire department and the clerk, he's just like, it was, you know, he's like, we did pretty good, but there are things that, you know, if somebody had been here every day, they would have caught the fact that the slope of the cement pour in the, you know, Sally port for the police station doesn't pitch to the door, it pitches to the wall. And so they can't wash cars inside that bay because the water pitches to the wall. You know, like it's a
like
small thing, but it means they're stuck with that forever because you're not going to just jackhammer the concrete out. So now you don't wash police cars, which now you're getting more salt damage on your police cars. And now, you know, it's just,
Cut in a drain along the wall.
yeah, exactly. Or, you know.
Jackhammer the last 2 feet out, or cut the last 2 feet
Something,
out, put a
yeah.
drain in, and then you.
And then you have something that doesn't really matter.
It's funny, that was, speaking of drains, we went into the, their like holding area, which they have, so they have a holding area with 2 holding cells, and he was telling us all about it, and I said, is there no drain in this room? And he was like, no, we didn't put a drain in this room. And I'm like, so somebody vomits, somebody defecates,
Right.
any of that, you got no way to deal with it? He's like, nope. He's like, we learned that lesson. Like a month ago, we had a stray dog that was in really, really bad shape. We put it in one of the holding cells and started feeding it, and it started defecating, urinating, vomiting, covered that holding cell. And he's like, now it's us with mops and paper towels. Like, and we have no way to drain it, no way to clean it.
That's unfortunate.
Little maintenance thing, it's, in the scheme of things, it's small, but,
It's
you
all those
gotta,
little things that add up to a building that doesn't meet your needs if you don't have.
and adds up to employees that were like, well, I don't love this.
I'm sure we'll have our own.
Yeah, our own.
But
Anyway,
if you have somebody there.
it was fascinating. I was glad I was able to get out to one of the four. I wish I'd been able to get to all of them, but even the one I got to was very illuminating. Union negotiations.
Monday, October 6th at 8:30 is our next meeting. We haven't met since the last time, but we do have.
Yeah, we have a draft to review, right?
you have it?
And
No?
Oh,
No,
Oh,
Yeah.
we will.
yeah, they're going to be sending us a draft
by the first.
first.
Yeah.
okay. And economic development.
Joseph and I met last Friday, quite some time. Very good discussion. I like Joseph. So, you all know, right? Economic development just encompasses everything, right? Businesses, community, taxes, which we're going to have to be far away from.
Planning, zoning.
Zoning, right, all of those areas. So, at least me personally, like, where do you start, right? Chicken, egg, car, horse. And so Joseph and I, we're trying to get some framework around that. We certainly don't want meetings that just are, go forever where, where we'd like to, obviously, we haven't had discussions yet. We just put out a questionnaire on Friday, what are best times and hours. I'm hoping to have our first meeting before our next select board meeting. But once again, just trying to get a framework. I think we'd both like to see some short-term goals. Maybe we look the charrette, right? I mean, not that that's short-term, but something we can actively participate in, especially with the common man. And as Phil mentioned, how that works in. It's already started and ongoing. Parking, we kind of left it at a place where I think we can at least take that small piece of 20 additional, right? Once again, another short-term win, but also getting our arms around in some way, shape, or form, moving forward and defining chicken and egg, and maybe you just, flip a coin. I did my best chat GPT, which I am digging. And just kind of put in, right, small town, creating economic development. And it gave us what I think at least was very high level. And at least, we can look at things and maybe break them down at some point after much discussion with all members, some action items. They even gave, you break down, here's the first 3 months, next 3 months, and kind of how to start those discussions. We can tag on, hopefully, with the work planning board is doing, not just for housing, but the questionnaires you have out to the public, tied into the master plan. There are just all these different avenues. Tagging on the Main Street lighting and signage, right? Does that, you don't want to get scope creep. It's interesting. I'm excited. It was great talking to Joseph. But like I said, hopefully we'll have a meeting long before, or before the select board meeting. Even just vision statements, strengths, weaknesses.
Don't forget to throw in there EV charging. If we get that grant for EV charging on Green Street, that becomes a destination for people who are going to walk to Main Street. I mean, that's more business for Main Street businesses.
Yeah, so that's
Name, Green Street.
I agree.
So that's the thing, right? How do you, because, EV charging, and I agree, but one of those things, where does it where does it go?
Right.
You know,
Well, I
who
mean,
should be,
that's,
who
Scott's
should
got
be
a, Scott's got a good
pushing?
plan for that.
We've
We have a
4 on Green Street and 2 up here.
I would love an economic development director. I know that's not in the thing, and maybe long before after I'm gone, there will be one. But anyway, I'll put my plug in.
You looking forward to you want to do like a volunteer job in retirement? Is that what I heard
I
you
was going to be
volunteered to
town
do?
mayor. I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay. We'll have to change our form of government, but
Just
Yeah.
for you.
it's fine. We can do
Yeah,
it.
exactly. We'll get another.
We just have to get
proclamation.
classified it as a city. It'll be fine. Any questions for Marianne?
No.
Any other public or board comments?
Is there anybody on?
I don't.
I have one
Says
topic
there's
I'd like
two
to discuss.
participants, but I think it's us and us.
And it may just be a question, but I witnessed a Plymouth PD vehicle on doing traffic enforcement the other day in an unmarked car. And I'm not a big fan of that. I have to say, I think in the interest of public service, I think our cars should be clearly marked as Plymouth PD vehicles. And hear me out.
It was a detective vehicle, I will tell you that.
But would detective vehicles normally doing traffic enforcement?
Filling shifts, yes. We're covering shifts now. We're
So
3 officers
Here's my
down.
concern. I have called 911 twice on vehicles displaying emergency lights that were clearly not police. And I think that young drivers should feel confident that if they see emergency lights behind them, that it's a police officer. And I think vehicles should be clearly marked. I don't think the state police should be doing traffic patrols in unmarked cars. And I really don't think Plymouth should either.
Why are our detective cars unmarked?
What's that?
Why are our detective cars unmarked?
Surveillance
Or surveillance? Okay.
purposes, detective
Like,
type.
nobody's going to recognize a Charger with a dummy light?
With what?
A Charger? Like, nobody drives Chargers.
Although we're not going to be driving Chargers anymore either.
I don't think it's our role to question
I know, but
those procedures because they are following all rules and regulations set forth by the Attorney General in the state of New Hampshire. And we're down 3 officers.
Yeah.
And we're trying to fulfill the needs.
I certainly don't want to burden them with switching out cars if that's the car they're assigned to, but I do question the need for doing traffic patrols.
Typically on
unmarked
patrol,
cars.
all patrol officers are in a marked vehicle.
That would be
The only ones you would see is Detective Keeler Sergeant Detective Keeler or Detective Arnold are in unmarked cars. And the chief's vehicle was unmarked as well, and that's been reassigned right now because it is the command post.
I saw the truck doing traffic patrols the other day, and that's very lightly marked. That's like a black on black marking, isn't it?
No,
No, the
that's
truck's
fully
pretty.
marked.
The truck's
Is it?
marked.
That truck is fully
Yeah, the
marked.
truck's definitely marked.
Well, I don't know if anybody else is concerned about that, but I'm concerned about it.
We have never had a complaint.
I can understand your
Consider this a
concern
complaint.
from a safety perspective, being pulled over. I
Or is there like
totally
a?
understand.
It's like a
That would
magnet
be my
solution?
concern.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
It makes sense why we having to do it now.
Well, a
It
magnet
doesn't sound like
solution,
it's
somebody could
normal.
make one up too.
But if a car's driving around, like if somebody buys a surplus vehicle and they put magnets on it and they drive around, and they get lights and drive around, like they're probably going to get pulled over. But like I've seen unmarked cars with lights obscured, and like I witnessed a vehicle attempting to pull over multiple drivers, and after witnessing this, like this was 10 or 15 years ago, I called 911 and reported them. But like I've seen other vehicles in traffic use emergency lights, pretending to be police just to clear traffic, and like as soon as I realized what was happening, I took after them, and like they took off. Like I was just trying to get a plate to call 911 on. Like it really bothers me that I think it behooves everyone, in the interest of public safety, that police vehicles should be clearly marked.
We can agree to disagree.
Okay.
I've been in that line of duty and I understand the reasons for that.
Yeah.
We can agree to disagree. I would completely support what they're currently doing.
Okay. I don't disagree there's a need for unmarked cars.
And just remember, every license plate says MP on them
Sure.
with a number, and it's a governmental plate. If it's a real police cruiser.
Okay.
Remember
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, I'll make a motion to go in non-public in accordance to RSA 91-A:3, number 2, A, personnel, and E, lawsuits.
Phil?
Second?
And your vote?
Yes.
Zach, aye. Ted?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.